Hello, fellow and future gamers. This is X once again with the Bubbles Gaming channel, and welcome to episode 3. I know at the end of my last video I said that I was going to go straight into Foundries and Forges, but I thought of a couple other topics that I wanted to cover ahead of time, and I didn't want to make the next video too long. So as you'll see, I have finished the first playthrough in the last video with the Squire, and I am on the final wave of my second playthrough with the Monk, and I just wanted to show you some differences in the build after getting my Squire to level 5. So showing the map here, you will see that instead of using the spiked blockades at the 4 entrances, I used the bouncer blockades, and I'll show those off in later on in this video when I go through all the new towers. And you'll also see the little chevron markings underneath or next to a couple of the magic missile towers. Now that my Squire is a level 5 and he can hold at least 100 mana, that gives me the opportunity to start upgrading towers, which I will also get into later in this video. I just wanted to show you the slight difference here, and I'll come back if anything else changes. Alright, welcome back. So on my third playthrough, I decided to level the Apprentice next. So with the Monk at level 5, I gained access to the Electric Aura, which is one of my favorite auras, so that has altered my build again. So as you will see, I'm still using the bouncing blockades. I only have one magic missile tower behind each one, and you'll see that I have stacked an Ensnare Aura and an Electric Aura at all 4 spots, and I've started upgrading the Electric Auras first. I'll show what those do later on, and hopefully you'll use them as much as I do. Alright, back again for my final run through the Deeper Well on Easy Hardcore. My last one to level is the Huntress. And I did not make any changes to the build after I leveled the Apprentice. So I've still got one Magic Missile Tower at each point, one Bouncer Blockade at each point, and a stacked Ensnare Aura with an Electric Aura. Hello again, and welcome back to the Tavern. I have finished the playthrough on the Deeper Well with all 4 of my characters. They are all now level 5s. So we're going to go through a little bit of gearing, and then we're going to take a look at our new hero abilities that we have, and then finally take a look at the new towers that we have available to us. So we'll head into the item box here and go through. So as you can see, I am on the Squire, so all these items are for the Apprentice, so I can't equip those. So we'll go through and we'll start looking at some things. So you can see that this will give me a bonus to my block ability and also to my attack strength. So we'll go ahead and equip that. So this requires a hero level 6, so I can't equip that yet. And then we'll just kind of look through and see nothing else is green. So it looks like we already have the best item equipped. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to equip all of my heroes in leather for now. And I'll talk about why in just a minute. Alright, so now that we have equipped him all in leather armor, when we go to the hero info, you'll see that these are now outlined in blue. So that means that I'm wearing a matching set. These lower levels, as long as the items are mythical or less, and they are all of the same type, so pristine, leather, mail, plate, or chain, then you will get this bonus. If they're all mythical, and then if they're all transcendent, all supreme, or all ultimate, then you get bigger bonuses, but it really can pay itself off pretty quick. So I'm going to go through and gear all my guys up to get them all into leather, so then they will all be adequately buffed. So now on the Huntress, we'll take a look at her weapons. So I got 2 weapons that I can't use yet. You'll see that with this one, it will up my attack strength. This one does have the elemental fire that will also do fire damage in addition to normal damage. And it does have extra knockback, and it does have more. Has 18 shots per time that you have to reload. So we'll get the Huntress in some leather gear. And then we will check her info. And as you can see, she's all set. Swap over to the Monk. Take a look at his weapons. Alright, so you can see that this one will up both my attack strength and my ranged attack strength, and it will add a poison attribute to my to the attacks. This one will give me less of an attack strength, but more of a ranged attack. I really do like that ranged attack on the Monk. So we'll go ahead and get him all geared up. So once you get to the later levels where you're getting better gear, I'll spend a lot more time actually picking and choosing what gear I put on him. Because most of these at this level is just going to give us a little bit of defenses and maybe a single hero attribute. So it's not really worth going through and looking at every single one of them. Just make sure that they do have the set bonus. Later on, you can find gear, specifically when you get into mythical and higher, specific gear sets for a tower build, a hybrid build, or a DPS build. So we'll take a look. One weapon that I won't be able to use yet. So you see, this one helps with some knockback. The projectile speed is higher, and it'll do more damage than the one I currently have. There are some other things. So you'll see this one that I should be able to use at level 6 that will actually give me an extra projectile. So every time you shoot, it will shoot more than one, so that'll shoot one extra one. We'll get him geared out really quick, and then we'll go into the showcase. So we'll make sure. Yep, so he's got everything equipped there. So as you can see, from my 4 runs, I got about 1,000 mana per each of them. Really, even these items that are going to be better at level 6, I will find better drops than that the next time that I go through. So I'm just going to go ahead and sell everything. And you'll see that even running through that 4 times, I only get about 1,000 mana per run, over 5,000 mana from selling all that gear. So that goes back to what I was saying in the last episode, that if you have mana in this stage, spend it, because you'll get far more from selling gear than you will from that. So I'll start the showcase with the apprentice here. So the first thing I'll show off is his new ability, is the overcharge ability. So if you're shooting, see that we're averaging about 41 DPS. If you hit the 2 key, activate the overcharge, and now we're seeing a little bit better DPS. The other thing, the bigger thing that this is used for is during the stage. So if you take a look at the amount of time that it takes to summon the magic missile tower, and then you activate the overcharge ability, you'll see it takes significantly less time. So that makes them very valuable during stages to drop towers when you really need them, and also to upgrade and repair towers as well. I'm going to leave that one up so that I can show on the next with the monk. Also, his new tower that he has access to is the Magic Blockade. It's relatively weak, especially compared to the Squire's tower, the Squire's defensive towers. The one thing that this does is any creatures that are within melee range or that are attacking this blockade will lose any of their elemental alignment. So if you have a lightning tower back here or a fireball tower back here, it won't do any damage to lightning elements or fire elements. But as soon as they touch this blockade, it'll take that away, and then your towers behind it will be able to do damage.
Captured some pets.
So we'll swap over to the monk. So his new ability is the tower boost ability. So we'll kind of see here, we can take a look at the magic missile tower. I'll look at its stats, doing about 53 DPS right now. So we'll go ahead and boost it. So you can see the rings coming out. And it ups the attack rate and the attack speed and the range of all the towers that are within that radius. So very valuable when you get in a pinch. If you're really relying on your towers to do the damage, you can stand in a group of them and activate that tower boost ability. His new tower that I talked about earlier is the Electric Aura. So just like with the Ensnare Aura, this affects all enemies that are within its radius. So as soon as an enemy steps inside of this Electric Aura, they start taking damage. And they will take 50 damage every 1.1 seconds just while they're in this aura. And I always stack these with the Ensnare Auras, because then the Ensnare Aura slows them down, so they spend more time inside of this aura and really can do a lot of damage overall.
Have a look around.
Swap over to the Huntress. Her new ability is Invisibility. So you activate it, you go invisible, and enemies can't see you, which is really nice for shooting at people. It's also fantastic for upgrading and repairing defenses. There is one enemy that I know of, the Warrior, can see you while you are invisible, but we won't be seeing those for a little while. So this is really nice, once again, in a pinch, to go invisible, upgrade, and repair some defenses. Her new tower is the Gas Trap. So just like the Proximity Mine Trap, you have the two circles, the trigger on the inside and the range on the outside. Instead of doing damage, what this one does is when an enemy triggers it, it brings out this gas cloud, and all the enemies that are inside of its range will stop, and they'll just stand in place and start coughing. This is another really good one to use stacked with the Electric Aura. That way, instead of just slowly moving through it and getting to your defenses, they will all just stand in one spot, coughing and stopping and just taking damage from that Electric Aura while they're waiting.
Plan a new adventure.
Last but certainly not least is the Squire. So his ability is the Circular Slice, so you can jump right down in the middle of some enemies. You'll see he has a pretty decent swing. But you jump right down in the middle of the enemies, and you hit the 2 key, and you just attack everybody around you. It does quite a bit of damage, can really help in a lot of cases. And his new tower, as I was using after I got him leveled up to level 5, is the Bouncer Blockade. So it's not quite as burly as the Spiked Blockade. Enemies can walk around it, but as you see there, when an enemy gets within range, it will spread out. So it has more of an attack range than the Spike Blockade. It will attack in all directions, and another thing that it's good for is it will send enemies flying. So if you're on a stage like the Mage's Quarters, which has the lava pits and stuff like that. You can set these up on some of the finer paths, and hopefully some enemies that are coming up to the side will get hit by it, pushed back, and actually fall into the lava, and then you don't even have to kill them after that. Because that will just kill them automatically. So that's it for this episode. I do plan on going into the Foundries and Forges next, so I hope to stick around. If you like it, please subscribe.